The small town of Greyford was sleeping. The streets were empty, the lights in the houses were off, and only the sound of the wind passed through the trees. It was a peaceful night. The kind people forget by morning, but in the middle of this quiet night, something unusual began. Far above the clouds, a strange light moved silently. It was not like a plane, because it made no sound. It was not like a shooting star, because it did not burn out. It was moving slowly, almost like it was searching for something. Daniel sat up in his bed, his eyes wide open. He had been dreaming of a voice, a soft, calm voice that whispered, "I missed you, human." The dream felt so real that his heart was still beating fast. He got up, walked to the window, and froze. There, in the distance, a silver glow touched the ground. It was in the field beyond the forest, a place where no one went at night. The light grew brighter, and the air outside seemed to hum. Daniel felt a strange pull, like the light was calling to him. He quickly dressed, grabbed his jacket, and stepped outside. The night air was cold, but he hardly noticed. His feet moved on their own, crunching softly on the gravel path. The wind carried a faint smell, sharp and metallic, something he had never smelled before. As he reached the forest, the glow was stronger. The trees seemed to bend slightly, as if leaning toward the light. The hum was louder now, deep and steady. It felt less like a sound and more like something inside his bones. When he stepped out of the trees, his breath caught. In the middle of the open field stood a ship. It was unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. Smooth metal, black and silver, no seams, no bolts. It seemed to be alive, its surface shifting like the skin of some great creature. A ramp lowered from the side of the ship. Slow and silent, a shadow appeared at the top of it. Tall and thin, the figure walked down with calm, precise steps. She wore a dark suit, and her helmet reflected the silver light. Daniel wanted to run, but his legs refused to move. The figure stopped halfway down the ramp and looked directly at him. Then, with one slow motion, she removed the helmet. Her face was unlike any human's, yet strangely familiar. Her eyes were large and silver, reflecting the stars. Her skin was pale, almost glowing, and a crown-like shape grew from her head. She looked powerful, but there was something soft in her expression. Daniel's voice shook. Who are you?" The woman stepped closer until her boots touched the grass. Her eyes locked on his, and she spoke in a voice that made the air feel warmer. "I have come to take you home." The words made no sense, but they struck something deep inside Daniel. It was the same voice from his dream, the same tone, the same feeling. His chest tightened, and a memory flashed. A bright light when he was a child, a hand holding his, a promise whispered. Daniel shook his head. "You're making a mistake. I live here." She tilted her head, almost sad. "You live here, yes, but you belong somewhere else," she said. Her silver eyes seemed to see right through him. "I missed you, human," she whispered again, softer this time. Daniel's mind raced. Who was she? How did she know him? Why did he feel like her words were not lies? The ship behind her began to glow brighter. The hum grew louder, vibrating in the ground under his feet. She extended her hand toward him. "Come," she said. "We don't have much time." Her tone was not demanding. It was almost pleading. Daniel looked at her hand but did not move. In the sky above, a shadow passed over the stars. Something else was out there, watching, waiting. The queen's eyes narrowed, and she glanced upward. Her voice became urgent. "They are here." Daniel didn't know who they were, but the way she said it made his skin crawl. The wind picked up, carrying a strange energy. Somewhere far off, a deep rumble echoed. The night no longer felt peaceful. It felt like the start of something dangerous. Daniel's heart pounded. Every part of him wanted to run back home, but another part, a small, hidden part, whispered to stay. He looked at the ship, at the queen, at the shadow in the sky, and then, without quite knowing why, he took one step toward her. Daniel's boots sank slightly into the soft grass as he stepped closer. The hum of the ship surrounded him, wrapping around his thoughts like a blanket. The air was heavy now, filled with the smell of rain that had not yet fallen. The queen did not move away. She stood still, watching him with eyes that seemed older than the stars above. When she spoke again, her voice carried a strange weight. "Daniel," she said, not asking, not guessing, knowing. The way she said his name made him stop in his tracks. It was not the sound of a stranger. It was the sound of someone who had spoken his name 1,000 times before. A flicker of light burst in Daniel's mind, not a memory, but a feeling, the warmth of a hand, the sound of a lullaby in a language he did not know. A promise, whispered long ago. It slipped away before he could hold on to it, leaving only confusion. "How? Do you know my name?" Daniel asked, his voice sharp. The queen took a slow breath, silver mist curling in the cold air. "Because I gave it to you," she said. The words cut through him. For a second, the forest, the field, even the hum of the ship seemed to fade. Only her voice remained. "That's not possible," Daniel replied, but his tone was weak. He wanted to sound sure. Instead, it sounded like he was trying to convince himself. The queen's eyes softened. She stepped forward, close enough that Daniel could see the faint shimmer of light moving beneath her skin. Her voice dropped to a near whisper. "You were not born only of this world," she said. "You are part of mine." Daniel's breath caught. It was absurd, impossible. Yet something inside him shifted, like a locked door creaking open. "I'm human," he said, more firmly this time, but she only tilted her head. "You are human, yes." She agreed, but not completely. The ship behind her pulsed once, a slow heartbeat of light. The ground seemed to answer with a faint tremor. Somewhere above, the shadow that had crossed the stars earlier moved again. The queen's eyes flicked upward, just for a second, before returning to him. "You don't remember me," she said, not as a question but as a truth. Daniel shook his head. "I've never seen you before." Her lips curved into a sad smile. "That is what they wanted," she said quietly. "They took your memories, hid them deep so you could live here without knowing." Daniel felt heat in his chest, not anger exactly, but something sharper. "You're lying," he sighed. The queen didn't argue. Instead, she raised her hand, palm open. A soft silver light bloomed from it. In its glow, an image appeared, a boy, maybe 6 years old, standing on a high cliff under 2 moons. The boy's small hand was held by a younger version of the queen. Her smile in the image was warmer than anything Daniel had ever seen. And the boy's face, it was his. The image flickered away. Daniel staggered back, his mind racing. "No," he whispered. "That's not, I..." But he couldn't finish the sentence. The queen lowered her hand. "You once promised to return," she said. "Now I have come to take you home." The wind changed then, cold and sharp. The hum of the ship deepened. The queen's eyes shifted. Not to Daniel, but past him, toward the trees. Her jaw tightened. "They are close," she said, her voice suddenly hard. "Who?" Daniel asked. Her answer was simple and chilling. "The ones who took you from me." The ramp closed behind them with a low, final hum. Daniel felt the air change the moment he stepped inside. It was warmer, heavier, like breathing through soft fabric. The walls curved around him, smooth and black, alive with faint silver veins that pulsed like slow heartbeats. The queen walked ahead without looking back. Her steps made no sound. Daniel followed, though every part of him wanted to turn around and run. The ship's corridors twisted in ways that didn't feel natural. Some passages sloped upward, but felt like they were going down. Lights moved along the walls, chasing them like silent watchers. "This is impossible," Daniel whispered. His voice sounded smaller here, swallowed by the ship. The queen glanced over her shoulder. "It is home," she said simply, as if that explained everything. They entered a wide chamber. The floor rippled faintly under Daniel's boots like the surface of shallow water. In the center of the room, a tall pillar rose from the ground, glowing with pale light. The queen touched it. and the surface melted away to reveal moving images, not pictures, memories. Daniel saw himself younger, standing beneath a sky filled with swirling blue clouds. He was laughing, chasing small creatures with silver wings. The queen was there too, younger but unmistakable. She was kneeling beside him, her hand resting gently on his head. The boy in the memory looked happy, like he belonged there. Daniel felt a knot tighten in his chest. "That's not me," he said quickly. But the words tasted like lies. The queen's voice was calm. "It is you, before they took you." Daniel's throat went dry. "Who's they?" he asked, her silver eyes darkened. "A people who feared what you would become," she said. "They could not kill you, so they hid you here, among humans, and made you forget." Daniel's hands curled into fists. "That doesn't make sense," he said. The queen tilted her head slightly. "It will," she replied, "when you see the rest." The images shifted. Now Daniel saw something else. A firestorm in the sky. Burning ships falling toward the ground. The queen standing in the middle of a battlefield, her armor cracked, her face streaked with something dark. Beside her, the boy, Daniel, was holding a glowing sphere in his hands. The light from it was blinding. Even in the memory, the boy shouted something. But the sound didn't reach Daniel here. He stepped back, heart racing. I don't remember any of this," he said. The queen took a step toward him. "Because they took it from you," she said, her voice firm now. "But your mind is only one place they hid the truth. The rest is in your blood." Daniel frowned. "My blood?" The queen nodded. "You carry more than human life in you. Daniel, you carry the key to ending the war that has never stopped." Before he could reply, the ship shook violently. A deep, metallic groan echoed through the walls. The lights along the corridor shifted from silver to red, pulsing fast. The queen's head snapped toward the wall, as if listening to something Daniel couldn't hear. Her expression hardened. "They found us," she said. Daniel's stomach tightened. "Who?" he asked again, louder this time. The queen didn't answer. She simply reached out, grabbed his wrist, and pulled him toward another passage. Her grip was strong, unshakable. The walls seemed to move around them as they ran. It felt like the ship itself was alive and afraid. Somewhere behind them, a deep rumble rolled through the air. Not like thunder, more like something huge tearing through metal. The queen glanced back at him once. Her voice was low but sharp. "You wanted the truth, human," she said. "You're about to see it." Asterisk, the floor of the ship tilted as if the whole world had been knocked sideways. Daniel gripped the wall, his breath fast. The queen pulled him into a narrow corridor, the walls glowing red. Somewhere far away, metal screamed, a sound that made the air itself shake. "They're breaching the outer hull," the queen said, her voice low but steady. Her silver eyes moved quickly, calculating. "Who are they?" Daniel asked again, this time with anger. The queen's jaw tightened. "Hunters," she said. "The ones who burned my world, the ones who will burn yours." Daniel's chest tightened. "You're saying they'll come to Earth?" "They already have," she replied, and her words left no space for doubt. Far away, in Greyford, the night was no longer quiet. A dog barked wildly near the old mill, its voice sharp with fear. Streetlights flickered. One by one, a faint hum rolled through the town. The same deep vibration Daniel had felt in the field. Mrs. Cooper, who lived at the edge of the forest, woke to find her windows glowing faintly from the outside. She stepped closer and froze. Shapes were moving just beyond the glass, tall, thin, and wrong. Inside the ship, Daniel stumbled as the corridor shifted under his feet. The queen moved faster now, doors sealed shut behind them without her touching them. "What do they want with me?" Daniel asked. "You are the last bridge," she said without slowing. He frowned. "Bridge to what?" "To peace," she replied, "or to total destruction." A blast shook the corridor. The wall ahead melted open like liquid metal, revealing a round chamber filled with tall, glowing columns. The queen stepped inside. Pressing her hand to one of the columns, it responded with a low chime. And a star map burst into the air above them. Dozens of glowing points moved in shifting patterns. Daniel stared, not understanding, until one of the points turned red. It was Earth. It was surrounded by other red points, moving closer, back. In Grayford, the shapes outside Mrs. Cooper's house were gone. The dog had stopped barking. The air was still, too still then, without sound. The sky above the forest rippled. Something huge passed overhead. Hidden in shadow but blotting out the stars, in the distance, a low vibration rolled across the ground, making glasses tremble in their cupboards. A baby began to cry, and no one could explain why, in the ship. Daniel's eyes were locked on the red lights moving toward his world. "How long?" he asked quietly. The Queen's answer was colder than space itself. 2 Earth days, she said. Daniel shook his head. "That's impossible. Nobody knows. Nobody's preparing." "That is why I came," she interrupted. Her gaze burned into him. "You can stop them." Daniel laughed once, bitter. "I'm not a soldier," he said. The Queen stepped closer. "No," she agreed. "But you are more dangerous than one." Another explosion ripped through the ship. This time, the sound was followed by a sharp hiss. The Queen looked toward the far wall. "They've boarded," she said, her voice like steel. Daniel swallowed hard. "What do we do now?" Her silver eyes gleamed in the red light. "We fight," she said, "and we run." The chamber shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the high curved ceiling, somewhere deep in the ship. A metallic scream cut through the air, sharp, like metal being torn apart. The Queen's head snapped toward the sound. "There." "Inside," she said. Daniel's heart pounded. Before he could ask anything, the far wall rippled like water. A shadow pushed through, bending the surface until it broke. The thing that stepped inside was tall, far taller than the Queen. Its body was wrapped in something that looked like living armor, black and wet. Its limbs were long, jointed wrong, and its hands ended in claws that scraped against the floor. Its face, if it had one, was hidden behind a smooth mask with no eyes. But Daniel could feel it watching him. Another came through the wall, and another. The Queen moved quickly, pulling a weapon from the column, a long silver staff that hummed as she held it. She stood between Daniel and the creatures. "They want you alive," she said. "That makes them slower. Use it." One of the hunters tilted its head, a slow, unnatural motion. Then it lunged, moving faster than Daniel's eyes could follow. The Queen spun her staff, a flash of light cutting the air. The hunter hit the floor with a sound like stone breaking. But it didn't stay down. It rose again, twisting its broken arm back into place with a snap. Daniel stumbled back, looking for a weapon. The room seemed to sense his need. A section of the wall melted open, revealing a small silver disc. He grabbed it without thinking. The moment his fingers touched it, it came alive with a blue glow. Energy hummed in his palm. He didn't know what it was, but he knew how to use it. The second hunter leaped toward him. Daniel raised the disc and felt a pulse shoot out. A wave of light hit the creature, throwing it back into the wall hard enough to leave a dent. His own hands shook from the force. The Queen glanced at him, silver eyes sharp but approving. "It remembers you," she said. "Your blood remembers." Another blast shook the ship, and a voice echoed through the walls. Not human, not the Queen. It was deep, guttural, almost like it was speaking from inside his head. "We will take him," it said. Daniel's knees went weak. The Queen's grip on her staff tightened. "You will die first." She answered in a language Daniel couldn't understand, her voice like cold fire. The hunters moved again, faster. Now, Daniel and the Queen fought side by side. She struck with precision, every movement clean, every blow deadly. Daniel's attacks were messy, desperate, but something inside him knew where to aim. 2 more hunters fell, their armor cracking under the strange energy of his disc. Then the ship's voice, calm and mechanical until now, broke in with a sharp tone. "Enemy reinforcements approaching. Breach in 60 heartbeats." The Queen didn't look at him, "We can't stay here," she said. Daniel's chest heaved. "Where do we go?" Her eyes flashed. "Home," she said. "But not your human one." Asterisk. The corridor stretched ahead of them like a dark throat. Red lights pulsed along the walls, matching Daniel's heartbeat. The Queen pulled him forward, her grip firm. Behind them, the sound of claws on metal echoed. Closer with every step, they reached a small chamber with a wide, curved window. Outside, Daniel could see the earth, small, blue and turning slowly in the dark. It was beautiful, fragile, and suddenly very far away. The Queen stepped to a console, her fingers moving over glowing shapes. Her voice was calm, but her movements were fast. "The enemy will lock on soon," she said. "Once they do, we can't jump." Daniel didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the spinning world. Somewhere down there was Grayford. Somewhere down there were the streets he knew, the people who had no idea what was coming. The Queen turned to him. "You must come with me," she said. "It is the only way to save them." Daniel shook his head slowly. "Save them by leaving them?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Because if you stay, you will die, and Earth will die with you." Her words hit him harder than the shaking of the ship. Daniel took a step back. "What if you're wrong? What if I can fight them here?" The Queen's silver eyes didn't waver. "You are not ready, not yet." The ship's voice cut in sharply. 30 heartbeats until breach. The claws behind them were louder now, scraping, tearing. Daniel could almost feel the air getting colder as the hunters closed in. The Queen stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You once swore to stand with me," she said. "Do you think you can protect anyone if you die tonight?" Daniel looked away. The blue earth hung outside the window, spinning slowly. For a moment he imagined it burning. The thought made something twist inside his chest. Fear, yes, but also anger. 20 heartbeats. The ship warned. The Queen extended her hand. Her face was calm, but there was a sharp edge in her eyes. Fear for him. Maybe, or fear of losing him again. Daniel's mind raced. If he stayed, he could fight for his home, or die before even making a difference. If he went with her, he could prepare, but he'd be leaving everyone behind. The claws were closer. The air behind him felt wrong, heavy. He could almost feel their breath. He looked from her face to the earth outside the glass. Then he made his choice. Daniel's hand closed around the Queen's. The instant their skin touched, the ship reacted, lights flaring from red to silver, the walls trembling like something had just woken up. A deep hum rolled through the floor, steady and alive. Behind them, the sound of claws stopped. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the corridor behind them sealed shut, metal flowing like water until no gap remained. The Queen pulled him toward the console, her voice quick. "Hold on to me," she said. Before Daniel could ask why, the ship lurched. The stars outside the window blurred into streaks of light. Gravity fell away, and his stomach dropped as if the floor had disappeared. When the stars settled, Daniel's breath caught. They were no longer near Earth. Before them stretched a battlefield in the void, a black sea lit by fire. Dozens of ships moved like shadows, their forms sharp and unnatural. Some were the Queen's, sleek and silver, their surfaces alive with light. The others were darker than space itself, their edges jagged like broken teeth. The Queen's voice was steady. "This is only the edge of the war," she said. Daniel could feel her hand tighten slightly on his. She turned to him. "They know you are here. They will come for you." A burst of light flashed in the distance. One of the silver ships shattered, its pieces spinning silently into the dark. Daniel's chest tightened. Somewhere deep inside, that same strange force from before began to stir. The memory of holding the glowing sphere in the vision came back. But now it didn't feel like a dream. It felt like a warning. The ship's voice spoke again. "Enemy fleet advancing. Distance closing." Daniel looked out at the approaching shapes. For the first time, he didn't feel like running. "What do I do?" he asked. The Queen stepped closer. Her silver eyes bright in the glow of the stars. "Follow me," she said, "and remember, you are not only human." Outside, the black ships began to move, their formation tightening. Inside, the lights of the Queen's vessel shifted to a deep, steady blue. The hum in the floor rose to a powerful vibration. Daniel's hand clenched, the silver disc still in his grip. The war was here, and this time he would not hide. The Queen smiled faintly. "I missed you, human," she said again. And then the first enemy ship fired.